What is up, gamers? It's XTR, and it's the long-awaited Phoenix guide. And I just have a couple things to say before we start. I have very high ping, so this might not be the most fun to watch, but I'm uploading my videos for the week right now. And I want to just get this done because I've recorded this video like 4 times. And while I'm editing it, there's just so many things I've wanted to add in that I just forgot about when I was talking about it. Because the thing with this is, like, I've been playing Phoenix since like beta, right? And I want this video to be kind of the guide that people go to when they want to learn how to play Phoenix. But before we talk about Phoenix, the best duelist in Valorant, that was a lie. It's definitely not the best duelist in Valorant. Phoenix is one of the bottom of the barrel duelists. We're going to talk about Opera GX, the browser built specifically for gamers. And I, being a gamer myself, use this browser. And if you're a gamer, it's not that bad of an idea. And I'm going to explain to you why right now. So Opera GX has something called a GX control. And basically what it does is it allows you to choose how much CPU and RAM you're actually dedicating your browser to use. Because if you're playing a ton of videos, right, let's just say hypothetically you're getting caught up on all your favorite YouTubers at the same time, that's going to make you lag. But with Opera GX, you can control the amount of resources that the browser is actually stealing from your machine. This makes it so you can watch that 4K PewDiePie video with perfect quality and absolutely no lag. It also has a network limiter that limits the network bandwidth used by Opera to gain performance in games and streams. But XTR, I don't want to switch to Opera. I use Google Chrome and I have everything saved on my Google Chrome. Shut up. There's a quick import tool. And this quick import tool basically takes everything, right? Like your browsing history, your bookmarks, your cookies even the cookies. And it transports it right into your Opera GX. In addition to having its own extension store, Google Chrome extensions are automatically compatible with Opera. You can easily go to the Chrome Web Store and install any extension you want. Anyways, I use this browser. I have been using this browser ever since WestJet pushed it, and I like it, and I actually do enjoy it. My favorite thing is how there's sound effects for pretty much everything you do within the browser. Just listen. And aside from that, it's also available on mobile. Opera GX gives you complete control over your RAM and CPU usage. Kill CPU draining tabs, free up network space, and divert resources to where you need them. Download now for absolutely free in the description and in the pinned comment below. All right, back to the video. So I want to go really in depth as much as I can for the most part about each of his abilities, what you can do, small counterplay things, and just small niche things with Phoenix that not a lot of people talk about, and you definitely won't hear in most of the guides. So this video is going to be anywhere from like 20 to an hour long, because I was probably I'd say the last video I did was 20 minutes long, and I realized, right, that I didn't cover nearly as much, and I was rushing through things because I didn't want the video to be super long. But if you want to learn Phoenix, you know, I'll talk about him for an hour. You know, I got no shortage of stuff to say about Phoenix. That was my Discord disconnecting. I'm not going to cut that. I've got no shortage of things to say about this character. This is one of my favorite characters to play. This character's playstyle, this character's kit fits me very well. And if you learn how to play him super well, you'll know if it fits you as well. Now, he is extremely utility-centric in a way that you really need to use your utility, and you need to know how to use it and when to use it if you want to use him effectively. He's not like other characters where when a situation calls for something, you know, right? With Phoenix, it's more so there's so many ways you can use his kit. It's so insanely versatile that there's just so many different things you can do. Whereas when you're playing Reyna, you know, it's pretty brain dead. You just dismiss, you blind the Opera off the angles, right? Same with Jett. You just dash away after getting a kill, or you go in with your knives, you're diving, right? But with Phoenix, you have so many different things jam-packed into this one character that there's a lot to talk about. And I just don't want to skip any. I don't want to skip over any of it. Before we start the video, this isn't going to be the flashiest looking video ever. I'm not going to have a ton of graphics up on the screen. I'll probably only include timestamps. The rest of it's just going to be me running around in the range, just playing with my abilities, right? I feel like, you know, an hour long is just a bit too much for me to actually edit out, and I'm kind of a shitty editor as it is. So it's just going to be me running around in the range. I'm going to try not to shake my screen as much because people get annoyed with that. All right, so let's get started. So what we got is we have defense and attack, right? So CT and T side. And basically, we're going to talk about how to use his utility properly on CT and T side. Separately, we're going to start with CT first. But we're going to do that briefly. Okay, we're going to talk about the different playstyles you can use as Phoenix when you're playing defense and when you're playing attack. And then we're going to go over his abilities individually. We're going to do a little Q&A at the end, and that's what the video is really going to look like. So yeah, let's get started. Put it simply, Phoenix is just your regular duelist, right? Except he's also got this arsenal behind him, right? All these different abilities that make him kind of a unique agent when you look at a duelist, right? Because you can kind of compare him to Skye a little bit, where he's very utility centric. And Skye can also be played like a duelist as well, if you know what you're doing with her utility. Now, I said this in the last video, and I'll link that last video in the description. It's about a year old. Is Phoenix is all about timing your utility, knowing when to use it, and reacting to certain situations with his utility. I will say, you can force the enemy team to react to you, but you don't want to do it so much on defense. You don't want to force the enemy players to react. Rather, you want to play a bit safer and react to what they're doing and use your utility to kind of counter them, right? So a good example of this, right, on defense is U-Haul. U-Haul is extremely easy to hold with Phoenix if you play it right. Now, the way I'll normally play U-Haul with Phoenix is I'll hold an angle crouching like this or something. I'll take one shot, and at that point, a Jett will probably dash up or something. So I'll fall back to this angle. I'll usually hit this shot here. People kind of just walk into this. Once I hit that shot, I molly here, and I just wait for the molly to run out. This entire time, my team is rotating, right? So once this molly's about to run out and I'm standing in it, I'll flash around this corner and I'll peek. And I'll try and take a fight. And at that point, if I don't get anything, I'll just kind of wait here and hold U-Haul control and wait for my team. It's very easy to get a couple kills in here, and you can always expend both of your flashbangs here to actually get a little bit more done. There is another thing with his wall that I've done on this particular angle, is you can kind of cut it in half like this. Right, and then you can kind of play over here. And this has worked very well for me. People don't really expect it. You can kind of just play outside of your wall, and a lot of the times people walk in. So yeah, that's really about it. You just use his molly for delaying time. Now, if you wanted to get aggressive, you can always do your flashes around this corner. But a lot of people expect that, and they'll play counter flash on this box or back here. Especially if they have like a Silver or something, he'll be playing back droning, and you just got to watch out for that. That's where a lot of the times when I'm playing short, I'll go for a peek just very quickly. I won't overstay my welcome. It's very important that when you swing with Phoenix and you notice someone is flashed, go for the kill, right? But don't overstay your welcome, because you're going to get traded almost every single time. Your flash doesn't last very long. So you want to go in, get the kill, and get out as quick as possible with Phoenix. I don't really like flashing around corners and taking fights that often with Phoenix into big corridors like this, or an example like Garage on Haven, because everyone's looking at that angle that you're about to peek, right? Everyone's looking at it. So angles specifically like this, you don't want to overstay your welcome. You don't want to get too greedy here. Even if you see they're all flashed, you only want to go for like 1 or 2 before you fall off. You don't want to go for like the 3 or 4 man spray down, because eventually you will get traded after your Phoenix flash runs out. It does not last that long. One of the ways I counter people playing counter flash is I will flash once, and then I'll flash again and peek, right? And that works pretty well. I do usually get 1 or 2 doing that. And don't be afraid to use your flashbangs just to get 1 kill. Don't be afraid to use both of your flashbangs for 1 kill. As long as you get 1, like, you're fine, right? Like, the goal should always be like, get as many as you can reasonably, but you want to be safe when you're doing it. Phoenix is just very easy to get over aggressive with, since you have his flashes and his wall and whatnot. It's very easy to get over aggressive with Phoenix on defense. But you got to understand the fact that he doesn't have any escapability whatsoever. The only escapability he has is his wall and his molly and his flash, right? You can count all of these as escapability, but they're not very good. One of the ways I get out of places when I'm stuck is I'll wall and I'll molly and just kind of jump away, right? Another way you can do it is you can wall and you can flash while you're running away, and usually you can get away pretty reliably. But the thing is, it doesn't always work, because obviously you can get spammed. Because if you look at a character like Jett or Reyna, they're pretty much invulnerable when they're leaving, right? Jett has her dash and Reyna has her dismiss. They can't be killed, but you can be killed very easily. So your escapability is very limited on this character. So you don't want to put yourself in positions that are hard to escape from, even though you do have this aggressive tool. One of my favorite positions to play Phoenix is triple box. Triple box is really good because you can just use your utility all over this box, right? You can throw a molly in showers. You can flash around this corner and then peek from here. You can flash from here, right? You can play this back angle here and then get one, wall yourself out, and then just leave through here. Maybe get another here if you're lucky. But you really want to make sure that you're using your utility around this box. When they're pushing up on you, they aren't going to expect you to be flashing around this box, taking separate fights, right? So Phoenix is very good in positions where he has multiple options to do stuff with his utility. You don't want to be limited when you're using his utility. You want to have as many opportunities and as many options as you can possibly muster to actually, you know, go through, use your utility, and use your maximum full potential when taking these gunfights. So yeah, that's one of the best ways to play Phoenix on defense, is just kind of wait for the team to do something, wait for their team to do something, right? Like, hold an angle, wait for their team to do something, and then you can react, whether it be flashing around this box and peeking here when they're walking out of showers, or maybe just walling over this and kind of just walking up. This is a very bad wall, but you know what I mean, like walking up to here, fighting here, you know, just playing around this box as best as you can. I've survived at this box for like upwards of 45 seconds, and I've gotten many kills just playing around this box on Phoenix. This is hands down one of the best positions you can play on Phoenix. You can't argue long is very good, but the counter flashing there, especially at Diamond to Radiant, is like, you will pretty much always have someone playing counter flash on long here. And you want to make sure, if you're actually flashing around this corner, that you have, you know, two people ready to swing, or you have an opera on the right side ready to swing or something like that, right? You don't want to be soloed taking that angle. Yes, it'll work sometimes, but the enemy team is going to catch on really quickly. That's another thing I have to mention, is this obviously goes with every character, but you don't want to become predictable with the way you're using your aggression at all. If I were to flash out of U-Haul every single round, right? Like, let's say the first round I do this, I get like 3, okay? They're going to expect that from now on. They're going to remember that you just got 3 kills from U-Haul, or you got 3 kills from U-Haul earlier in the game, and they're going to be ready for it. So change up where you're playing, change up where you're flashing from, and change up the timings of your aggression. So that's how you play him pretty easily on defense. We'll talk about attack real quick. So attack is really good for Phoenix, because it's very easy to help your team get into places, right? With the wall especially. It's like a mini Viper wall, except it sucks, right? So basically, the way I play Phoenix here is I almost always just molly this out, like, right away. I've gotten a lot of kills doing this because people just sit here. Obviously, you can't see them when you're first getting here. You'll never be able to see them unless there's a drone. So if you don't have any type of like a drone or anything like that, just molly this. If you do have a drone, wait for the drone and then go in. And then what I like to do is I'll molly off U-Haul. I'll flash around this box and be turned, and then I'll just go straight to U-Haul. I'll flash it again, and then I'll have U-Haul control. Almost every single time that works. Another thing you can do is if you think there's someone just holding this doorway and you're a little bit worried about it, what I like to do is I'll wall it off. Or sorry, I'll molly and then I'll wall it off. And then I'll just kind of run through looking at it, or flash through, and then I'll flash again. Oh my god, this ping is so bad. Anyways, that's kind of how I take A site with Phoenix. You can always do this wall if you're a little bit worried about certain things. That was really bad. You can always do this wall here, but this kind of blocks off your team. So I don't really recommend that. I recommend more so doing this wall with the molly, and then just doing something simple like flashing through here. You really don't gotta overthink it. You don't even need that wall, but it is good if someone's holding this angle crossfire or something, right? The reason why I don't even look at this side is because if my teammates are like semi-decent, all I have to do is run out. My team will clear that angle for me as I'm running out. That person should be blind, and then I can just get into U-Haul for free. If I don't want to take U-Haul control, what I'll do is I'll molly it off so we can't get peeked. And then I'll run up like this. I'll clear this, and if the smokes are down, I'll just kind of walk up along this wall like this. I'll kind of just inch my way up while staring at U-Haul. And then I will just play post plant from there. It's very simple. Just use your wall to get you into places. I will do a quick example on B side as well, because there are a few neat things you can do with this character on B side. The way I always play him on B is once I'm up to this angle, either I'll molly elbow, or I'll molly sight right here, or I'll just walk out like this, right? And then from here, you can line your flash up like this, walk forward, and then it'll land perfectly in that corner, and you can clear that out. And then you can just kind of creep up. If your sage walls, you can run up sight. I always flash like this and then clear all the back sight. If you flash to the left here, it'll get anyone in tube and back sight usually. So backside's usually clear from that point on. You can go up on the box, but you're not really doing much as Phoenix here. Any of your teammates can do that, but if you see like nobody going up on this box, it's never a bad idea to do it, because this is one of the easiest ways to clear sight and get control. One of the walls I like to do is just simply this, where I wall up like this, and then I'll molly here so I can't get peeked from tube, and then I'll just kind of run up, hoping they don't peek me from backside. I'll clear here, I'll flash in tube. Jesus Christ. I'll flash in tube, and then I'll clear the rest of backside. From hookah, there's a couple ways you can do it. I'm basically just doing entry pathing again. Pretty much anytime I'm coming from A site, right, and we're late rotating off of A site, I will come, you know, straight through here, and I'll always expect someone else to be on site. So what I'll do is I'll just wall this just so I can get onto site, and then I'll flash through here and kind of just clear this and hope nobody's guarding, and then have site clear. At that point, I'll be watching garden or something. You obviously got to be careful of garden. Another way you can do it is just walling garden off, so you don't have to worry about that. But that's also, so that's another way you can do it. If you'd rather wall off garden and elbow, you can do that, jump out, but you're gonna have a bit harder of a time clearing side, I'd like to say. So that's pretty much it for attack. You know, just use your utility and create space. The reason why I'm pretty sure I said you can molly here is because the molly is very good for just stopping people from peeking an angle. So you can just run up, right? Because if I'm to molly this, the two-person can't peek, and I can just kind of get on site and clear all this out easily, right? Obviously, you have to be aware that your team can't plant while this is up, but at that point, the site's not even clear, so it's not really that much of an issue. So I'm quickly going to run through each and every one of my flashes that I use. I use, I believe, 4 different flashes. And all of them are pretty good, but they're all very situational. I've already made a guide on these flashes, but I'm going to talk about them quickly either way, because I'm hoping this guide gets a little bit of traction so people can actually, you know, see these different types of flashes and have them fully explained. So the basic flash, right? The normal flash. I'm not going to go over the normal flashes just yet. I'm going to go over the flashes I do, and then I'll move to hookah for the regular flashes. So this flash here is the bank flash. This is where the corridor is to your left or right, right? Like, so for instance, the corridor short is to my left here. So I'm going to right click and swing with it. And it's a little bit laggy right now, but it pops perfectly when you round the corner. You have to be up against the wall. Don't make sure you're not exposing yourself. You have to be up against the wall for this to work, because if you do it here, you're going to full blind yourself. One stipulation with this is you never want to have teammates behind you when you're doing this, and you never want to do this when you're entry fragging. If you do this with entry fragging, you're an idiot. Don't do it. You're going to make your team mad. If this happened to me, if I got flashed by my Phoenix while he was entering and he did this flash, I'd probably quit the game, and I would probably just end up leaving the game. So don't do this when teammates are behind you. The only thing this flash is really good for is anti-eco rounds, and for taking 1v1s when you know exactly where the player is at. So let's say I know a player is staring at me from like right here. All I have to do is just throw this flash and swing. And basically, if I end up not instantly killing him, he's blind, right? That's like the big thing with this flash is unless you wait a second before you do it, he's not going to be blind. So you're basically just going to be fighting him. I will say that people do turn away from this flash very often. So just be aware that people are going to turn away from this. And that's one of the best things about this flash is you'll catch people turning away a lot. But I think the backwards flash is better to make people turn away either way. So, you know, the bank flash I haven't been using much because it's just simply not as good. It's very good for 1v1s. That's its main thing. It's good for 1v1s, and it's good for like when teammates aren't with you and you need some way to quickly flash and escape. I have noticed that if I want to like super quickly flash, all I do is run up against a wall and then just swing with it. That way I don't have to like line it up perfectly, you know, or like throw it backwards. You know, I can just run up to this wall, throw it, and flash. And then I can just peek out. So it's very good when you're taking a 1v1 and you know exactly where the enemy player is at. That's the main thing. Other than that, don't use it. This flash here is horrible. Full transparency, it sucks. It's absolutely garbage. I have gotten like maybe 10 kills doing this flash, and it was just because I wanted to like make clips with it, right? Don't use this flash. You're not going to be a better player. It's not going to do anything that the normal flash can't do already. The bank flash is good, yes. But the reverse flash, in my opinion, is my favorite flash of all time. It's pretty epic. So basically what you do is very simple, right? You just look the other way and throw the flash. That's it, right? And you can swing super quick with it. And almost every single time I throw that flash, people turn away from it. So that's all you're doing. I personally flash like this 60-70% of the times. But you got to remember, if there's a team, if teammates are behind you, you don't want to do it. That's why I like to backwards flash like this. So if there's teammates behind you, just don't do it. There are a lot of places you can backwards flash into. Like, I wouldn't necessarily call this backwards flashing. Rather, you're just not looking at the flash and you're clearing a different angle while the other angle is getting flashed. I like to split things up with my flash. Like, I'll use my flash to temporarily blind an angle while I look at the other one, and then I'll turn back to the other angle. So I'll show that in U-Haul real quick, or hookah. What I'll do in hookah a lot of the times is I will throw the flash to the right and then peek left, and then I'll turn to my right, and the other player should be blind. That's one of the best ways to use this flash, is kind of just using it so you can clear a different angle, right? I've done this a lot, and it's worked out very well for me. So you might as well learn how to implement that. It's very simple. If you think there's someone staring at you from either sides, just pick one of the angles and flash it, and then look the other one, and then turn to the other one. So those are his main flashes. For his normal flashes, you have his wide flash, where you run forward and throw it wide. Now, the good thing about this flash is if there's someone in here, you know, you usually round the corner while you're throwing this, right? Like this. So they might take a shot and expose themselves, right? But the main thing about this is it flashes everything. Like, everything in hookah gets flashed. Anyone from CT that's staring into hookah is flashed. Anyone sitting on this left side is blind. Anyone sitting right here, back there, on top of tube, they're all blind. So you're just covering as many angles as possible. Your regular flash isn't going to do that, obviously. Like, if I was to throw this just regularly, it's not going to blind all that much. So certain instances, throwing it wide is very good. It gives them a little bit more time to react, but you are clearing a lot more angles, and you aren't going to have to worry about as much when you're entering into U-Haul, or hookah. Sorry, Jesus Christ. Every time I come into hookah, this is the flash I throw. So yeah, just combine the wide flash with, you know, turning left, and it works out very well most of the times. So that's kind of like the wide flash, right? You can do it where you're pretty tight, so like this far back, but they still get a bit of time to react. So you can do that. This is just kind of the basic flash. The low flash gives them a little bit less time to react because they aren't going to notice it quite as quick, but it really doesn't work all that much. So just be careful of that. I will say with the ground flash, one thing is they have absolutely like no time to react to this. I tested this out, and like I labbed this with my friend a little while back when I was trying to create new flashes. And when you throw it like this, they have almost no time to react to it. So that is one thing it is good for, is they are going to be blind pretty much every time. It's not that useful really, because you have to like look from the ground, adjust your crosshair up, and then swing. So I just don't recommend it. So yeah, low flash, normal flash, and then the wide flash. Very simple, right? You can throw it high, which is kind of weird. I see people doing that, and it doesn't really work all the time, because I've noticed that sometimes when people throw it high on me, if I'm literally just like looking like right here, they throw it too high and it just doesn't blind me. So I wouldn't recommend throwing it high. The only time you want to throw it high is over boxes. Like if I wanted to flash over this and then clear out like that, or maybe flash like this and then clear out this, you can do that. Flashing high isn't always bad. You can flash over this box like this and swing hookah. Like that's perfectly fine, but I just don't recommend it on like normal angles where there's nothing you can flash over per se. If you're just flashing around a wall, don't do it. Aside from that, that's really all I wanted to talk about with the flashes. The molly is good for a lot of things. You can obviously heal with both of your utility pieces, but you want to kind of avoid using your util to heal unless you really need it. Your util is super good, right? It's really good. And how much is that extra 30 or 40 health really going to run you? So try and hold on to your util, but if you really think you need to heal, if you think the situation calls for you needing to heal, then do it. So the molly is good for flushing people out. It's good at denying people from peeking. And it's good when comboed with things such as Astra Stars, Sage Slows, and Killjoy Alarm Bots. You can get lineups for it. Those work pretty well. And that's pretty much all I want to say. There is a couple more niche things that not a lot of people talk about. One of the best ways I've learned to use this molly is to kind of throw it where I'm going to be, not where I'm at right now. Like, let's say I wanted to peek this angle and I was low, I would just throw it right here, and then I'd hold this angle. If I wanted to hold an angle and I was low, that's what I would do. I wouldn't sit back here and heal and just not watch anything. Just make sure when you're using your molly, you're still being useful to your team. You don't want to do it in some random ass corner where you're not helping your team at all. So almost every single time I use my molly, it'll be like, I'll be like running through CT, I'll throw it on the ground, heal for a little bit, and then I'll just keep going if I'm rotating and I need to heal that bad. Because, you know, you don't need to use every single hit point of your heal, but if you are going to heal, don't waste too much time doing it. Especially when you're entry fragging and you get tagged up a bit, don't leave the entry frag to go heal. Like, don't do that. You need to just continue pushing on for your team. I do this sometimes, and it's not a good habit to do. So just make sure you're not leaving the fight to go heal constantly. If you're going to heal, do it where you're still being effective. Do it when you're rotating. Make sure you're doing it like this and just kind of running through, grabbing a bit of health, and then leaving. The wall is obviously good for entering. That's its main thing. It blocks off angles. You can do a lot with this wall, though. A lot of things that people don't talk about. So one small piece, like one mechanical thing you can do with Phoenix's wall is, a lot of people don't know this, I don't think, but if you aim just a little bit to the right with your crosshair, you can throw it like this and you're pixel perfect. You're going to make it like every single time. So that's kind of like the golden rule. Just get up against a wall and throw it like that. And you're going to pretty much, it's going to go where you want it to go. Obviously, you can curve this wall pretty much as you want to, right? Like, you can't do a full 360, but you can do pretty much a 180 with it. So it's pretty good for that. Another thing is you can kind of wall over stuff. Like, let's say I wanted to wall off hookah and I didn't want to like wall it like this for some reason, right? There's better examples on other areas, but like, for instance, right? I can't really get my wall over there. Let's say I'm like right here. I can just wall over like this, and then hookah's walled off, kind of. Oh God. But you see what I'm trying to get at, right? Like, it also removes this ugly gap. Like, there's a gap here, right? Oh, maybe not. I guess they fixed that. There used to be like a gap, like right in between the wall. I believe it happens on some edges. Yeah, like right here. You can kind of see through the wall. If it's touching an object, you can usually see through like the corner of it. So this kind of removes that. And it just kind of goes straight into the wall. It goes over it, you know? So all you have to do to get this perfectly is just aim up while throwing, and it'll go straight over the wall. Pretty much any wall. It doesn't really matter the height. Well, I guess it does matter the height. I haven't really tested on like super high things. Hold on. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily matter the height, but I don't think you can do it into like heaven, you know, on split. It really all depends. I believe it probably just acts like with the height of the wall. Like anything that's a lot higher than the wall, it simply won't go over. Another good thing is flashing through the wall. Everyone knows about this. This is very expected of Phoenix players to do, is you throw a wall and then you flash through it. Like, everyone kind of expects you to do that, but it still works against a lot of people. One thing you can do with this wall that I've noticed myself doing is you can isolate one person with it, right? Like, let's say there's a person in this corner here. All I have to do if I want to swing him safely is I can just wall him off and then flash him, and he's dead. He's dead like every single time. If there's ever two people crossfiring you on Phoenix, this is one of your best pieces of utility. You can literally split them up so he can't get the trade. I've done this many times. I'm pretty sure I did this in like my last video, where I literally split the two players up, killed one of them, and then the other person couldn't trade him, and I killed the other, right? So it's very good for specific situations like that, where you really need to split people up from each other. Obviously, people will run through your wall often, but just don't put it in a position, or just expect them to kind of do that. Expect them to run through the wall. Just be wary of that. So yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about with the wall. There's a couple smaller things that I could talk about, but I simply do not remember them, so I'm not going to talk about them. So the ultimate, you know, Phoenix's best piece of utility, his epic ultimate, which is basically a free life that you can do whatever the fuck you want with. It's really cool. It's really cool because it's an extra life, dude. There's so many things you can do with this, and I cannot stress how useful it is other than just entry fragging. Because a lot of people will just entry frag with this, right? And it's like, there have been so many situations where I've literally just used it to grab a gun, or I used it to grab the spike when it was in a really bad spot. Or even just to get the bomb down and then teleport back to like a main or something. It's very, very good for just certain things like that. Like just very small things that are a little bit too dangerous and you don't want to lose a player doing. There have been many rounds where we are on an eco round and it's like 3-3 and I kill a person. And I'm like, okay, this is winnable now. So I'll ult and grab a gun like this. And like, let's say there's a person in my right. I'll just wall it off, grab the gun. And if I die, it's no big deal. And if I don't, I can just kind of continue on. This is not really the best example, right? But pretty much anywhere that the gun is at, all you have to do is run up with a flash and then just grab it. And you'll probably end up dead. But yeah, like I said, if you're not dead, just continue using your ult for whatever you want. For whatever you want. So that's one of the best things about his ult is grabbing the bomb and grabbing weapons. A lot of people overlook this. I've done this a lot. It's worked a lot. And it's very, very useful. And you also look super smart when you're doing it, even though it's just simple as fuck, right? So that's one of the best things you can use his ult for. And obviously use it to entry frag. I will say, if you think you have the jump on someone, use that to your advantage. There have been a lot of times where Phoenix players will just kind of sprint at me and all I have to do is just listen for their footsteps. And then when they're around the corner, I just kill them. So a lot of the times when I'm ulting, I'll clear out most of this, right? And then I'll like walk. Because it lasts pretty long, right? You don't want to be super predictable to the point where you're wasting your ult by just getting shot. You can walk into areas perfectly fine, and you'll get the jump on people all the time. Nobody expects a Phoenix in his ult to just be walking up on you. That's weird. That's cringe. Nobody does that, right? So start doing that. It works really well. It's super strong, and not a lot of people expect it. Another thing with Phoenix ult is when you die in your ult, you get, or your ult runs out, you get all the ammo in your weapon back, and you also regain all your health minus armor. You don't get any armor back. So a lot of the times when I'm playing Phoenix and we're low on money, or I need to buy somebody and I won't be able to afford armor, I just won't buy the armor and I'll use my ult because I'm going to lose it anyways in the ult form like 99% of the times, right? So don't worry too much about having armor when you're Phoenix. With your ultimate, but I will say if you can't afford the armor, just do it. Like don't not buy armor just because you have ult, because you don't know if you're going to use it that round. Even if you know you're going to use it that round, you don't always end up using it because let's say like your team loses like 3 people and now what do? You're just looking for picks. You're not going to use your ult that round. So buy the armor if you can. One of the times I will not buy armor with Phoenix and I have his ult is when I need to like drop a teammate, right? Or I won't have enough to, you know, actually be able to buy the next round. And I'll pretty much always take the buy the next round over the armor if I have his ultimate. Another small thing is ulting from a safe spot and ulting unpredictably. The reason why you want to ult unpredictably is because there's a lot of ultimates that can counter you. There's Sova ult, there's Brimstone ult, there's Killjoy, and there's Omen. Those are like the 4 main ones I can think of off the top of my head. If you say ult from right here, which is where most Phoenix players ult from. When they ult up short, they're going to ult from like right here. You're going to get like ulted by Omen or ulted by Sova if they have it. It's going to happen. It happens often. So make sure you're ulting in an unpredictable spot, right? But don't lose too much time by ulting in an unpredictable spot. Don't ult like back here or something, right? What I always do is I'll come up here in this little corner. That way I'm not exposed to short when I come out of my ult. And I'm really only exposed to someone coming through showers, but we should have showers control. I'll literally just ult out like this, and I'm only losing like a second of time, and I'll flash around this corner, clear this, and I'll take my route into U-Haul. So just make sure you're ulting unpredictably. You don't want to be killed right out of your ult. Another thing is, no matter how safe you're being with your ult, you're always going to run into just something you don't expect to happen. And you're going to get a call, like let's say someone's pushing from CT, and you didn't expect a player to be CT, right? Like let's say you're defending here and you ult, and you get a call that there's someone coming from CT. So let's say I'm just clearing sight, right? Someone says there's somebody CT. What you do is you instantly stop what you're doing and you throw a wall, throw a molly. You just stop yourself from getting killed that way. That's all you're doing is just shutting them down from being able to have vision on your ulted body. This is very good. This has saved me a lot, is just using my util to kind of cover my body. If I think there's someone coming, like if I have a hunch that someone's coming from somewhere, or if I get a call that someone's coming from somewhere, I will use my util to kind of just cover myself up. Like, especially with the way the wall can curve, if there's someone coming from heaven, all I have to do is just curve it like this, and I'm pretty much completely safe when I come out of my ult, unless they drop down and actually try and fight me. Molly is also very good for this if they're in like U-Haul or something, or CT. So that's like another small thing with his ult, is even when you play everything right, there's always going to be unexpected shit that'll happen. And if you can react to it quickly enough, I've been like editing it through and whatnot, because it's been a while since I've done a guide, and I want. So that's pretty much about it. I don't know how long this video is so far, but we also have a Q&A segment. So yeah, let's hop into that. The best day ever, but I am sitting down right now. I want to get this video done so that way the day after tomorrow, I'm able to just upload it. So for the Q&A, let's just get started. I'm probably just going to have some obscure gameplay in the background as I talk about what's going on, just because I'm extremely lazy right now and I'm not known for my editing prowess or my presentation. So let's get started. So to answer this right here, any Icebox or Breeze Phoenix entry path soon? I am planning on doing this eventually, yes. It's not like in the works right now, but I am planning on bringing these back, at least for the newer maps. I don't know what I'm going to do with the thumbnail style is kind of like the big problem I have with it right now, because I don't want it to make my views, you know, even worse than they are right now. So yes, the entry paths are coming back. For Breeze, I don't really play them that much, but I'm sure I could lab out some decent entry paths. It'd be very basic. Basically, the wall just goes where the Viper wall is, usually on Breeze. With Icebox, though, yes, there are a lot of entry paths I like to take with Phoenix, especially with his ultimate. There are a lot of ways I like to go about attacking on Icebox and actually making Phoenix better than Reyna on Icebox, because it is possible, you know. I will do one with Fracture. I've played him a little bit on Fracture, but not that much. So I'm going to wait a little bit on that one. So I firmly believe Phoenix is going to receive a buff soon. He's not the strongest duelist. He's the most balanced duelist in my opinion, but being balanced isn't really enough to have him played consistently at the higher levels. Because there's just so many agents better than Phoenix. Like, Reyna is just simply a better Phoenix, right? Aside from the fact that she doesn't have as versatile of a kit, she's just a better Phoenix, right? If you have a Phoenix playstyle, usually you can excel even more on Reyna. When I play Reyna, I do better than I do on Phoenix usually, because it's simply Reyna's just a better agent. So yes, I think Phoenix will get buffed eventually. And I'm not too sure about the question with the flashbang, because if you make it come out quicker, then it might be too hard to react to. But I think that's probably what they need to do, because reducing or extending the time that it lasts might make it a little bit busted, since it's, you know, quote unquote a pop flash, which is kind of stupid to me, because, you know, if you have an initiator, they can already pop flash for you. But I'm pretty sure the way Riot looks at it is it's a self pop flash, therefore it can't last as long as the other agents pop flashes, right? So in my personal opinion, I don't think they're going to extend the time, but they might make it a little bit quicker. Maybe they'll play around with the time a little bit, and they'll probably end up reducing the prices of his flashbangs, is what I think personally. I think Phoenix is easily best in the entry frag role, where he just kind of runs in and makes space. Using that wall to get your team onto site is very, very powerful. People kind of overlook the fact that Phoenix wall is literally just like a really bad Viper wall, basically. So use that to get your team into sight, and then push forward in front of your team. Create space using your flashbangs, like flash around boxes and whatnot, and clear out the back angles, the close angles, everything like that. Phoenix is very good for that. Phoenix is amazing at creating space. And most people realize that, but I also think at the same time, it's a little bit overlooked. So yeah, I think he's best on the entry fragging role. So I've played Phoenix the most out of any duelist, but I've also played every other duelist a lot, except for Yoru. And what I can confidently say is that he is definitely one of the lower tier duelists. He's worse than Jett. He's worse than Reyna. He's less impactful than Raze usually, because Raze has really good util she can throw. And sometimes it even feels like Yoru's better, because a good Yoru player can really mess with you on certain maps. Obviously, I don't really think he's weaker than Yoru. It's just a lot of the times Phoenix is very easy to outplay if the Phoenix player doesn't know what he's doing. And it's very hard to find Phoenix players that actually properly know how to use their utility. So I really think he's one of the weaker duelists right now, personally. And I'm not really too sure about the impact of pro and meta play. I don't really spend much time watching pro play, because most of the times I just sit around playing the game, editing, and then going to work. That's like what my day looks like, is I'm working, editing, or playing. So I don't really watch pro play. I don't really make the time for it. So unfortunately, I can't answer that question. I don't want to just give you a shitty answer for it. So the last question I want to answer is this one. What do you think a good change to Phoenix would be? And there's a lot of changes I think could be made to him. Definitely not like all of these at once, because that would definitely overtune him. But just looking at each of his abilities, right? His Molotov, I think, is in a good spot right now. Like, his Molly it's fine. It doesn't need to be changed. His wall, I think, can last a good bit longer. Like, I feel like his wall does not last as long as it should, and I feel like it should go a little bit farther, honestly. It'd be nice if you could curve it more as well. Just do a little bit more with the wall that you're spending so much money on. I think they could take down the price of the flashes. The flashes are expensive. In beta, they were like 150, then they tuned them up to 200. Now I believe they're 250. Like, I honestly think they were fine just sitting around 200. Aside from that, his flash, I think it could be a little bit quicker. And his ult, the big thing with his ult is I think that personally, right, you're already like, it's his ultimate. I don't think you should lose the armor that you're going into the ult with, because that makes you not even want to like ult sometimes because you're losing the armor. So I really think you should keep the armor that you lose when you're ulting. I don't think that's a good mechanic. I think it's quite stupid, honestly. So those are like the main changes I would make to Phoenix. Nothing like huge and nothing reworky, just like some slight tunes, right? Aside from that, that's pretty much all the Q&A for today. But if you guys have more questions, leave them in the comments. I think I'll do more Q&A sessions like this at the end of videos. Specifically at the end of like the guide ones that I'm doing for Phoenix. The Phoenix guides, you know, the epic Phoenix guides. So go ahead and leave more comments in the comment section below. And if you want to be part of these Q&As, just go ahead and join the Discord. The link's in the description. And I will try and include as many as I can next time. Sorry if I didn't include you this time, but I appreciate you guys coming in and asking me questions about Phoenix. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you got something out of it. If you have any questions about Phoenix, put them in the comments and I'll try my best to answer them. But aside from that, have a good day.